Namaskar. Hello and welcome to PGurus channel. I'm your host Sree Iyer. Joining me today is Professor Ramesh, and we are going to be talking about the unrest that is spreading across US campuses. In fact, today UCLA is literally on fire. A lot of action took place yesterday evening and through the night at the Columbia University campus to clear out the people who had occupied buildings. A lot of stuff is happening, but are there parallels? That's what we are going to be discussing. Let's welcome Professor Ramesh. Professor Ramesh, namaskaram and welcome to PGurus channel. How are you, sir?
Thank you, thank you. Nice. It's always nice to catch up with you. I think we're almost moving real time, I think, on many of the debates.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Sir, last night, US campuses in Columbia, a couple of things happened over the last 48-hour period. The tents were pitched inside what I would call as common area in Columbia University. And they were refusing to vacate it, even though the police has been trying to do this. Then police essentially barricaded them, didn't allow people to come in or out, and they stopped food from going in. Then the faculty, some of the faculty are also there. They started demanding that food should be supplied. And they also went and took over this one hall called Hamilton Hall. I don't know if that had some food. What was the reason? I don't know. But last night, there was action to vacate them. More importantly, for those students caught inside these things, if they happen to be students of Columbia University, they are being suspended and they are being rusticated. They have to go back to their country. So this is a serious business. One Indian student has already been caught. It looks like her professor talked her into it, and that guy is escaped. Anyway, so the next phase is to clean the faculty in Columbia of these jihadi mindset people. So this is not just a student issue alone. We have to see how that plays out. Sir, history tells us that Lyndon Johnson did not seek a re-election because of the opposition to his Vietnam policy in the campuses of the United States. I'm wondering if history is repeating itself here. Your thoughts are, and you can also draw parallels to what had happened in India and how it looks like a copybook operation. Over to you, sir.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, generally people of our generation, wouldn't welcome any campus unrest. Because if you look at really what happened in 60s and 70s, in fact, there's an old video of Reagan circulating when he was governor. You might have seen that, where he was really warning the UCLA president, telling him about his dissatisfaction about what's happening in the campus and like that, and he's actually squarely blaming them, saying that, you people should have controlled it and we had given you the warning and like that. So nobody liked, even, in fact, I would say that even the most irresponsible politician wouldn't want an unrest in student campuses because, it's very difficult to unfold that. In fact, DMK faced it. See, DMK came on the face of the agitations, anti-Hindi agitation, it came in 1967. But the point is that the students continued the agitation after that also. So then another, in fact, gave an appeal saying that, no, it's our government, don't protest. No, because they thought that they got freedom and then they started protesting. Similarly, it happened, during the early 70s, before the emergency. The whole university campuses are all on protest all over India. I was in Madras University and we used to go to the college thinking, oh, today should be holiday, today should be holiday. That was the mood with which we'll go. Then mostly it will be locked up, college. Some protests will be going on like that. So nobody likes it because one whole year gets washed out. And imagine the student who gets repatriated and then sent back to his own country. In fact, one can even come back to India, but imagine going back to Gaza, of all the places. That's something they all fear, I think. They don't mind as long as, they don't study, but as long as they can stay in US and then keep protesting. But I don't think any of them would like to go back to their respective countries. That's something they really detest. Second thing I would say is that during my days, all said and done, and I'm saying 60s and 70s like that, protests were spontaneous, and it may gather momentum, but it was all by the power of ideology, speeches and like that. Today, it's all funded, it's all planned, programmed, and then it goes systematically. Like, you will be, I was once astonished that during the anti-CA protest, something happened in one of the universities in Delhi. Then another university in Bombay responded. Then I was in Bangalore that time. We get a mail saying that, oh yeah, let's all assemble. All of them happening in a space of 30 minutes or like that. So that's the sort of the, this one network that happens, and they're all completely pre-programmed, I would say. And the beauty is that the moment any of the universities announce, even the internal members, we don't get to know it, but media will be there at the gate. Okay, how come there's the media at the gate even before really it's known publicly inside the campuses? I'm saying, because I used to check in the other campuses and like that. Okay, and second thing more, I mean, maybe I'll stop with 1 or 2 points, is that, I mean, the very few people are only involved in the whole strike. It could be 2%, 3%, but they hold to ransom 97% often. Okay, even in my campus and other campuses, I used to check what's happening and like that. It's never mass movement or something. It's never like, not even majority, not even live out mass movement. It's not in a majority movement. And that's something, other students feel upset. They say, what are we to do with these protests? Okay, it's not that they're indifferent to it, but they're worried about their future. Okay, so this is what could be the dilemma that's happening in US. And I saw the congressional hearing. I mean, for 3-4 months when it happened, and recently when they, the hearing was done on the president of the Columbia University, president and trustees. I mean, they were really, I mean, I would say brutally frank in their questions, and they want brutal answers. I mean, frank answers on what they plan to do and what will be the consequences. In any case, even if one protests, for example, we had freedom fighters and we had even people protesting in those days. Okay, but they are always ready for the consequences. It can never be the case that you want to protest but you don't want any consequences. Okay, so that never happened. But then these people don't want any consequence. They just want to protest, and that's not at all acceptable. That's just, I mean, point that the congressional members are making. Yeah.
Professor Ramesh, we're going to show a small video. Viewers, take a look at this video. This is happening in a US campus. Remember what used to happen in an Indian campus also. Look at the similarities. Can we have the video, please?
हम क्या चाहते हैं? आजादी। पैलेस्टाइन की आजादी। अरे पैलेस्टाइन की आजादी। अरे छीन के लेंगे आजादी। अरे छीन के लेंगे आजादी। है हक हमारा आजादी। है हक हमारा आजादी। चीख के बोलो आजादी। चिल्ला के बोलो आजादी। अरे जोर से बोलो आजादी। कोलंबिया में आजादी। कॉर्नेल में भी आजादी। फिलिस्तीन में भी आजादी। फिलिस्तीन में भी आजादी। फिलिस्तीन मांगे आजादी। फिलिस्तीन मांगे आजादी।
I think we can stop.
Yeah.
So you can see that this is in a New York City campus, and probably this is a student, of either South Asian origin. Let's not, now we should use South Asian, not Indian origin, because we don't know one of these 3 countries that person. So viewers, you see, where did this resonate before? In fact, one of these rascals is now running as a Congress candidate. So I'm not going to mince any words. I want to mention the word also, because why give unnecessary publicity to some person? But the point is, these people get rewarded, at least in India. I don't know what's going to happen in the US. Definitely, sir, today morning in UCLA, things have gone to an extreme. And I tell you clearly, the reason is LA is only 140 miles from the border, 140. And illegals have completely swarmed over, and I'll tell you what's going to happen next. The campus of UCLA, University of California at Los Angeles, is it's on one side of the road is UCLA campus, the other side is Sunset District, what do you call it? Bel Air is where all the rich and mighty of LA live. When the police comes in and drives these students out from the campus, do you think they are going to just quietly go away? Watch out! Look at all the rich and famous of LA. Your big, huge mansions are under threat now. But they'll make sure that the police will cover that. But be that as it may, this is all pre-orchestrated. This is all done with an idea to cause disruption. Professor Ramesh, we have seen that one organization has started doing these things. That is one side. They are trying to prevent Israel from moving into Rafah. They are thinking that If the world is seized of the matter in the US, then the press will come in, they will start playing it up, and therefore that will give us the breathing room. So the Israeli army will not move to Rafah. It's a very clear-cut thing now. And Israel kind of sorted out Iran, in my opinion, what happened there. So Iran is not going to be able to do what they used to do, my opinion again. So this is so the more these things are known, these people are very smart. They know options, this option gone, option gone, option gone. What is left? Let us try and bring the American students against themselves. A lot of American students also are completely sucked into this. And some of the campuses, like for example, there's one campus in Boston called Northeastern University. They cleaned it up before it could happen. So, but there are others which are all, completely. UCLA is, I think, student body is 25,000. Not easy to control. Ohio State in Columbus, Ohio, 25-30,000. Not easy to control. Berkeley, same numbers. UC Berkeley. So, at least in the smaller campuses, it can be controlled. But Professor Ramesh, the US is a much bigger student body because many people from the world come in. And where do you think this is going to end? I mean, Israel is going to move in. Biden is screaming at the top of his lungs to Netanyahu, don't move in. But there's no way they cannot move in. I don't see an option here. So where do you think this is going to end?
In fact, surprisingly, I mean, well, before that 𝗤𝙗𝙖𝙩 slogan, okay. Yes. I mean, what is the New York police won't even know what they're shouting. Okay, here at least they will know. Okay. I mean, and they'll be wondering what is it. I mean, they would inquire somewhere. I mean, what does 𝗤𝙗𝙗𝙗 mean? And I was wondering, I was thinking it's a Hindi word. I believe it's a Persian word and also used in Urdu. Okay. And I don't want to say more than that. Okay. And then it's really, I would say, it's sort of a reverse transfer of knowledge, I would say. Those days, knowledge used to come from West. Now it's going from, you said South Asia, probably from here to there, which is unavoidable. And I hope we don't get the bad name for that, because where is 𝗤𝙗𝙗𝙗? I mean, what is 𝗤𝙗𝙗𝙗 from whom? America, what are they asking? 𝗤𝙗𝙗𝙗𝙗 from whom? Okay. So that's something very funny. Okay. Now you are talking about Israel. One thing that has really, these people have managed it. I think they are managed to mobilize. I mean, the protesters have managed to mobilize support for Israel. Okay. Because, I mean, the congressional hearing is going on. So a lot of questions are being asked. Okay. And all the networks are coming up, and all the, the grooming that's happening, the universities are all coming out in the open. Okay. There is one professor whose name keeps cropping up, and then he has been there for 20 years. Okay. And imagine how much grooming would have happened. I mean, so the students who are there in the 70s will be the professors and deans now. So obviously there's sort of an unwritten sympathy probably in the campus. I think that institutional correction should be happening now. Okay. So this has really helped in mobilizing, the sort of, this sort of, feelings that are there in the campus, anti-ideologies, I can say, or even I would say anti-grooming of the students, the way the teachers want them. Okay. And that's something good, because professors are being asked serious questions now by the Congress. I mean, and they also sort of maybe managed to mobilize some support for Israel, or at least some sympathy in US. Okay, that's what has happened. See, at the end of the day, Israel will do what it is in its interest. Okay, that they will do. And these people are not going to gain anything from these protests. But what is important for our US is to really protect its campuses. Can you imagine a student is not confident of attending his college? I mean, that has never happened even in any of the Indian universities. At the height of the protest also, it has never happened. Except in probably Kashmir, it might have happened. Okay. But the students generally never feared going to the, their own university. But here that's happening, and that is what really I put off. And let me tell you, I want to, the protection that the academics use is the academic freedom. There are two concepts. One is freedom of expression, another is academic freedom. In my opinion, academic freedom means you have done some research, you have done some thesis, and you want to speak to the world about that, which can be anti-establishment or something else. Suppose you have done a research on, let's say, COVID treatment, and you say that's wrong and this is right. You need academic freedom to speak. But I was once asking a group of scientists in India who signed the anti-CAA protest, anti-CAA, signature campaign, and all of them are scientists. If I was jokingly saying, if I do one conference See, in India, it's very difficult for me to get 10 professors together. These people get some 200 signatures together. I don't know how they look at it. This again the network I'm telling you. Okay. So I asked him, did you at least read the NCR and then what is the the CA law says? No, I don't. I have not seen it. But then I trust my colleagues. I mean, is that the academic freedom you're really talking about? Freedom of expression is yes. I mean, freedom of expression is basically. I mean, there's a limit to that again, isn't it? I mean, you cannot go beyond the limit, and that's defined in law probably. I mean, that can be proceeded again. This academic freedom is something like, the judicial, you've got they've got their own protection, isn't it? Like that academicians also behave like, this is something they can talk about, and then nobody can really ask them any questions.
Now, the bigger names, the Ivy League names, Harvard, Columbia, Cornell, all these, Yale, all these people will start seeing an impact on their admissions next year, because even the qualifying students are going to think twice, is it worth all this stuff? And the other interesting thing here is they took endowments from countries like Qatar and even Palestinian Authority, which is always having a begging bowl. They have donated 1 million. Pakistan has donated 6.5 million to all these university campuses. So they really don't need this money. What BS is this? You guys have endowments worth billions of dollars. You have a company that is managing your endowment. You guys don't need this peanuts. Why are you taking this money? That is one question that Congress should be asking all these presidents of all these Ivy League schools.
Correct.
I don't know if you know this story or not.
I saw in Congress. Sorry, you want to say something?
No. I have an interesting anecdote, sir.
Yeah, please.
I don't know if you've heard this story or not, but Leland Stanford was a very rich man, and he had made money selling tools for people to go pan for gold. They're called 49ers. 1849 was a peak when many people came from all over the world to California to pan for gold in all their streams. They said that there is gold, and there was, people just were pots and pans and bringing them from San Francisco to Sacramento area where most of the panning was being done. Some people made money. One of them was a guy called Leland Stanford, Stanford. Now, he had lost his son at a very young age, and his son had actually gone to Harvard. So Leland Stanford went to, this is in the 19th century, 1856 or 1860, something in that period. Exact year, I don't know. So he goes there and he wants to donate some money in the memory of his son to Harvard. The Harvard president wouldn't meet with him because he was too busy. Leland Stanford
this guy looked like a farmer or something like that. That's what
yes. So Leland Stanford got pissed off. He comes back to California, buys a land, and builds his own university, which is now Stanford University.
Exactly.
So what I'm trying to say is Harvard has always had a lot of money. In fact, Yale funding was done mostly with money from India, looted from India. Okay, we can go back and look at any number of things like this. The takeaway here is, especially I asked this question of Indian parent, because I'm told that the actual fee structure and the amount of money that Indian students are spending in US going to colleges here, it runs into billions of dollars. That's a big B as in boy, billions. And that's big number. Professor Ramesh, so they will turn around and ask us, okay, we are being denied our rightful place in admissions in India because of reservations. We have some life savings. You don't want us to go to US. We can't go to Ukraine because there is threat of war. Ukraine has good schools, good education, but we can't go there. Tell us, where do we send our children to? I think this is a good question for you, sir.
No, so I'll come to that. So the question is that when in the congressional hearing, one congressman was asking the trustee of one of the universities, tell us how much you got from China, Saudi Arabia, and Iran, I think. Okay. Then you're sort of wishy-washy answer again, nudging, saying that they pay for the students and things like that. It's not true. They're really funding heavily many of these big schools and like that. Why even our Indians are funding heavily these big schools. In fact, many times people will say that this man is funding, that man is funding. But actually, every protest that goes on, every war that goes on globally, okay, I see a Chinese hand in that, or Chinese at least benefiting from that. Okay. Reason being that, I mean, they are trying to, I have feeling, dilute the US universities. Okay. Because, I mean, that's one of the biggest strength of US. It's a knowledge generator. Okay. And this is what we all still look to, isn't it? Going to US. And I would still recommend, if somebody asked me to go to the Ivy League and all those schools, hoping that they settle down this issue like that. Okay. So I have a feeling somebody is working behind to really orchestrate all this. And I hope the US is aware, and the US has to really take care of itself, these universities and like that, you know. So this is something I wanted to really talk about. But coming to your second question, what's happening is that now, if the BJP comes back, BJP will come back, of course, with a big margin. I think one of the reforms where they'll be really aggressive is higher education reform. Okay. They may open out for universities abroad, and I'm sure many of them would like to locate here, because from here then it's easier to attract Middle East, Far East, and then Asians, Africans, and like that. Okay. So I'm hoping some of these main schools may come here, which is good or bad, I don't know, but I mean, they may relocate here. Or otherwise, even our own schools are really building good base with foreign return process and like that. I mean, I don't know good or bad again, but I mean, these developments you might be seeing in the next few years in India. Yeah.
Professor Ramesh, again, two things come to my mind. If you allow foreign universities to come in and establish colleges in India, two problems come. Will they bring all these freedom of expression back to India? One. Second is, will the Indian administration insist on implementing the same reservation structure on these universities also? Because if it's a private run university in US, it's run like a company. The university is run like a company. Professors have a task. They have to teach, plus they also have to bring in research grants. The endowments take care of basic running of the campus, plus marketing, blah, 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 all that stuff. But each one has a defined role. And the thing that they used to do in Harvard, at least, was there was some affirmative action, which is similar to reservations, that has been struck down now. In other words, since I think this year or so, that has been struck down. So, but that's one side. But the other side, what they made, the work has done is, there used to be this scholastic aptitude test called SAT. SAT had to be taken by students who want to enroll into undergrad program, which is the bulk of the student body in any campus. Now that SAT has been made optional in campuses like Harvard. And the reason for that is very clear. People who don't have cognitive intelligence felt that, this system only rewards that. So take away the one question, one parameter that is used to, figure out your cognitive intelligence, and SAT went. But whatever it is, right now, in my opinion, India should wait and see if the dust settles before they bring in these universities to come in and run their campuses. Certainly, they need freedom. If you try to put shackles on them, saying, "Oh, you have to take so many people from this, reservations and things like that," then it's no different. Then you might as well have just add a few more IIMs in India itself, a few more IITs. There's no difference. So I'm just looking for some more clarity. Maybe you can shed some light on that.
Clarity. I mean, what may happen is that, is the reservation extended to universities like Jindal, Premji, and all? Do they have reservation? Now that you asked me, it struck me. Because they are already existing in India. Ashoka University and all that. Second thing is, what I expect is that the top 10 universities from US may not immediately jump into India like that. Though Harvard is, for example, doing some training programs in India, like the executive training program, they will only see where is the meat and then try to do some collaborative things with Indian universities and like that. But what we may get is from universities from Australia, New Zealand, Europe, and all that, and maybe the second down universities in US. Okay. But one thing I never worry about all these things, because about the US university, whatever comes to India, it will get Indianized. Okay, our guys will Indianize it, and there's a publication. Sorry, we can't do publication. Teaching, we'll do it in our own way. Okay, so they will get really pissed off with us. Okay, the US university thinks that they can really extend to us. So the sort of Indianization that will happen here, okay, will be very different from the way it looks like those universities there. Okay, so this is not going to be such a easy. You're setting up another plant in another country, like automobile plant or something like that. So this is something that to think through. But where I come from, Sree Iyer, is that you said billions of dollars are sent abroad for foreign education. If that money is spent in India, okay, right from primary school to higher education, we can have beautiful school system and education system. Okay, and that is what we are really losing out. People are spending, okay, but we are losing abroad. If this money, in fact, if you ask me, we are supporting the UK education system, Canadian education system, and America because we pay full fee. No American pays a full fee, isn't it? I mean, mostly he'll be from his own state and from his own region. They get a lot of these waivers, but we pay the full fee. We are supporting those universities there. Okay, so I'm eyeing the dollars. Okay, if I can able to retain the dollars in India, okay, I'm sure we can bring in quality like US. I mean,
Sir, you need to make one thing for the longest time. IITs thrived because even the dumbest politician of that age at least realized that they should not treat their toes into the university system, the way it was set up. Then a disciple of Aryabhatta comes along. You know who I am talking about. The whole viewers know who I am talking about. This 𝗣𝗽𝗲 thinks that IIT should have a social sciences section. And lo and behold, now it is no different from JNU. IIS, the Central University, that was the Center of Excellence in Hyderabad, that was another victim to this. So you have, and this person is a fairly eminent lawyer, makes a lot of money representing people of dubious shades of gray. And he thinks that this is the right thing to do. So when you have these smart idiots, what do you do, sir? Our polity is not very smart.
Yeah, that's there. In fact, I get your point. In fact, I keep asking, I even requested the education minister last time to do a peer review of all the what they call a HSS department, humanities and social sciences. Okay, I'll tell you, there's another one which is creating problem now. That is also starting, which is my department, which is public policy. Okay, now the IITs are also starting public policy. So yeah, the HSS and public policy. Now, see, my question is, these probably is something like tail wagging the dog. Okay, they are probably not the mainstream departments in IITs, and I'm not in IITs. Okay, and they drive these agenda of the IITs, which is rather unfortunate. The protest that you are seeing, incidentally, even in Columbia University, I saw that arts department. Okay, that's what is really leading this protest. Okay, not the engineering department or medical department. Even in Harvard Medical, is it leading? Is Harvard Engineering leading, or MIT is leading? Okay, it's only the arts department which is really leading this, and that is something I don't know how to really minimize the impact of these schools, because what has happened is that they all come with certain ideologies. I asked them the question: you are in a technology school, shouldn't you be working with the rest of the technology and come up with some technology policy or technology related management issues and like that, or even startups like that? Nothing. They are just getting into the gender and then poverty, which another economics department, let's say Delhi School of Economics, is better at studying those things, isn't it? You don't need an economic department in IIT to study. We have a department, Delhi School of Economics, which is really leading in that. And there are so many central universities. This is again another issue that we have. But I'm hopeful that parents will wake up. Parents have to wake up. I mean, that's something I would like to warn our Indians in US also. Take care of our children. They don't get waylaid into these things, because somewhere we need to I mean, the parents have to take control. Okay, even a congressional hearing is ahead of that. You really need a parental hearing. Parents have to really talk to the president and then the trustee to say, what have you done to my children?
Very true, sir. And many of the times these people are also movers and shakers in the industry. You look at IIM board. Yeah. I had written an article in PGurus criticizing one of these board members. So this board member's secretary calls me and says that you should connect with this person at this time. You should call. Why the F would I call that fellow? I have written. I have my facts. So look at the hubris. Look at the hubris. Yeah. I should call from India at my expense to be lectured about what I had written in my post after getting all the data. That's what that person is demanding. Look at the hubris, sir. I mean, I'm like blown away. Dude, what kind of thing are you smoking? Why don't you answer what you're being accused of? He didn't do it. So this is the thing, that there's a sense of entitlement. Look at IIM's chairman. I remember when Professor RV and you were working there, you know who it was, right? Some biopharma person. What does that person know about this? Why can't we have dedicated academics to be on the board, who understand which direction this should be going? So India problem is the UPA messed it up in a certain way, and I don't think NDA has really done much difference, because they had one term education minister proudly proclaiming that I have not changed one line in the syllabus. Is this an achievement? Thankfully that guy got dumped. But you show, I mean, India needs to run fast. I still think that even if the universities come in, like you said, it'll get Indianized, but whatever it is, India needs to find a system that works for India, for the Indian students, for the Indian parents, so that maybe they can spend about a quarter of the money that they are spending now to send their children abroad, but they get that kind of education in India itself. This is a crying need of the hour. It's not that hard also, Professor Ramesh. If the politicians keep their nose out, though they don't run the colleges like the way DMK does in Tamil Nadu and some other, even Karnataka, same problem, I think, and Andhra also, a lot of the politicians have these universities. That thing has to be completely taken out. Don't destroy this institution, but take out the ownership, because that's all bad money anyway. That's illegal money. That's how they built all these things. So these are all things that I think Modi government has to take up on a war footing. That's all I would say. It's not anything less than that, and it's a good opportunity to do it now, because the parents are having some doubts. Hey, what happened? By the way, parents, university campuses in Australia will also have the same problem. UK will also have the same problem. It is just that US has the bang for the buck, and it is the US which is underwriting the war in Israel and in Taiwan. That is what China is off. I mean, if you just peel off the layers of onion and you see who's the root cause, Professor Ramesh hit it on the head. It is China. It is that is the country that is doing all this stuff, but they have camouflage themselves with all these different things. Sir, in conclusion,
China doesn't even have to do anything. My hypothesis is also that China stands to gain whatever happens in the world.
Yes.
Doesn't have to do anything. He just needs fools like this to keep protesting, and then they will have that they stand to gain. Because you're undermining institutions, which is what is happening. Yeah, you're saying something.
So I tend to go on a rant when I hear some of these ludicrous things that have
the education reform is something I think in the third term they have to deliver. BJP has to deliver in the education reform, and that there's a lot of expectation even within the party, and because that's a priority. Human resource and education is a priority. I hope something happens in that field. Yeah.
Absolutely, sir. And also, viewers, parents who are trying to send your children to US for education, there is an implicit assumption that they will find jobs in the US and then they'll settle down. That thing has actually taken a backseat now. It is not so easy to find jobs, even for American studied educated from a primary school itself. Why this is happening is essentially there's a lot of money, funny money floating around. All I can tell you, I've done a lot of programs, so you guys can take a look at it as to why I say that. So this investment is for them to come back to India and start something on their own. But the same thing can be created in India itself. You don't really need to do this thing. I mean, if you have that kind of money, why don't you try and teach them how to run, companies and how to start new ideas? Everything is available on Google now. You just have to take that little extra effort to look at what is needed.
I think it will happen. It will start happening.
Yeah. So here is an interesting comment. There are 50,000 African students who are staying beyond course time in outskirts of Delhi and Hyderabad doing illegal things. So if foreign universities come, things will go from bad to worse.
Not necessarily. But see, what we expect is that they will come up with their standards, quality, methodologies and things like that. But these things will be followed of that. But I think we can manage that. I don't think it's totally out of control and like that. It's basically, see, there are two things, Sree. One is education, other is the law and order. So treat this as a law and order if something like that happens. Okay, so probably the Home Ministry to look at the visas and then look at the behavior and then take appropriate action. But education, let's stay focused. And I hope that improves. My
Yes,
only
indeed.
thing, again, I'm saying, I want that billions of dollars to be pumped in India. I don't want that to leave India. Okay.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree with
Then
you more.
automatically quality will improve. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because people
What-
pay will ask for quality. People who pay will ask for quality, isn't it?
Yes, indeed. Sir, one of the things I've heard is I think Nadar, Shiv Nadar has run a group of institutions. They are very well regarded.
He's doing very well. He's doing very well. Yes, yes.
So
Very
it's not
committed
that,
and very good.
yeah, it's not that you cannot do it. If Nadar group can do it, I also heard that they are a little woke, but that's okay. Look, at first let's establish quality, then mindset will come automatically. You know, what are the
But let
Ambanis
me
and
tell you
Adanis
one
doing?
thing. I
Why are
mean,
they not?
let me tell you that I even studied these law college students and all. Until their studies, they are left. After that, they are more they are as capitalist as anybody else. Okay, they are so we don't need to worry about the students. I mean, even my students, even if they are left, once they join corporate, they become more capitalist than anybody else. So,
Sir, we have a few questions from our viewers. If you don't mind, we can ask those questions.
Yeah, it's always interesting. Yeah.
Magnet Ranga wants to know, Namaskaram. Would you say that the advent of these elements was planned over the years or is it spontaneous? If it was a long-term planning, wasn't the establishment complacent?
So the beauty is these days, I mean, the planning is so good, they can trigger something in a week's time. Okay, because I gave an instance. So within half an hour, some 10 universities are up on the rise. Okay, something during the CA time. So it's not that great planning, but there is what does it mean? Basically, there is an appointment for each of these universities. They are in continuous communication with each other. And I wouldn't say that. Probably, I don't know, government should investigate. Is there any funding arrangements behind all that? Okay. Because even in Colombia, you see, there are the tents. Somebody was giving lunches and dinners and like that. Okay. So where are the money coming from? So planning in the sense that there is a well-oiled machinery, I would say, which can be activated at any short notice. Yeah.
Next one, please. Rajavale Kunchwar. Are Indian students afraid of the backlash, limited numbers, ostracized by other students, or did they have no support system to fall back on?
In which context, I don't know why he's asking, but we are not in trouble there. But the point I would like to make is that, Sree, if you take any top universities in US, and if you take any top programs, okay, the maximum number, maybe Chinese could be 30% and we could be 20% of the students. Okay, so overall, like you talked about 20,000 population, 30,000 student population, we may be minority, but in key programs, we are in significant numbers. Okay, there are even significant number of faculties among them. Okay, second thing I would say is that, I mean, the guys going from India to there, they will be, could be having a fear and like that. But the second generation Indians there in US, they are also, I'm worried about them. Tomorrow they could be the guys who could also be joining this protest and like that. That's where I'm hoping and praying to the Indian parents to, just keep them in, I mean, let them be aware of what is India and then how we came up and what we are and like that. I mean, so they are the guys tomorrow who could potentially join this protest and like that, but not the guy who has taken a bank loan from here goes there. If he protests and if he send back, he will have only the bank loan.
Yes, indeed. Sorry for misspelling. It is Rajiv L. Kunchwar, I think. Raja Raman wants to know, ask Sree, is Ilhan Omar involved in this ordeal? Trump lashed out at her recently about her corrupt practice like marrying her own brother. Why could Trump not have dismissed her, got her acted and thrown back to Somalia where she belongs? This happened when he had 4 years to do it. Why did he not do it? I'm an independent. I'm asking Trump, why did you not do it? Why are you? Because you found it convenient to use this name to get re-elected. That was one of your speeches. You said, oh, as long as I use her, I'm going to get re-elected. Well, you did not get re-elected. You could have done something about it. Sir, this is just my opinion, sir. Please go ahead.
No. I agree with you because I'm not so much tracking this issue. Yeah.
Next one, please. Thank you, Raja Raman, for your super sticker. Partha wants to know, Professor Ramesh, say if an attempt is made to revive our ancient Gurukul system, what or how would one learn to be a teacher in this way in a modern setting in the digital age?
So this is the point I was trying to make. I wanted to make, somewhat missed out. When you are talking about Indianization of the US universities or Indian universities, certain attempts are being made in certain groups. I mean, I'm also part of such groups. Okay, where there are some well-meaning people. We are trying to bring in some Indian knowledge system into the into our own curriculum, and then what it meant and what it was and like that. How did it look and all that. And also, I'm trying to bring in even like Indic model of research and things like that. I mean, based on Indic research and like that. So somehow when you get into all these, we will obviously move towards our own heritage and value system, and what, in a very umbrella term, if I can use, dharmic ways. Okay, so what we need is really a dharmic way of managing these universities and managing these systems, rather than, I mean, really going back to the Gurukul days or something. But people are doing summer camps like Gurukul camps and like that all over India. They're also being taken to various sites and then, on Gurukul visits and like that. So this is really a happening thing now. I mean, but yeah, so this is the what I meant, the Indianization. I mean, I'm sure there'll be some things happening in the overall systems, rather than, learning certain Western concepts and Western systems and all that. Like if you take sociology, it's all totally Western. So we might be now learning the Indian system of sociology and psychology also. Okay, which puts you back into the roots, isn't it? I mean, yeah.
Absolutely. And viewers, first thing is about languages. Learn as many languages as possible.
Exactly.
Don't limit yourself that this is my mother tongue, I'll only learn. Your brain is only one stick.
Let me tell you, you learn morals only from your language teachers. Okay.
Yes.
Because what happened, they only teach you Tirukkural, Ramayana, Mahabharata and all. In the process, they bring and teach you, all the poems and all that. Okay. They teach you the morals, isn't it? In fact, the time spent with my language teacher, as a Tamil teacher, is my gurukul for me. Yeah.
Very true, sir. Very true. Thank you, Akshay Iyer. Well, that was a fantastic session, sir. And as always, you bring new ideas. And viewers, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. And put in by way of comments what you thought of this lecture. Professor Ramesh and I have worked, we have got into some sort of a, good mode. We can wavelength, and we can converse on a lot of topics. And I really enjoy his company. I hope you do too. And I'm sure Professor Ramesh likes it too, because we decided to do this just, hours before. He said, let's do that. And he said, yes, let's do it. Because the importance is some of these things have to be discussed then and there. Many of you are making lifetime decisions. We want to make sure that you have all your inputs right. So thank you so much, sir. We'll be back again very shortly with Professor Ramesh, because this is just beginning. These protests are just beginning. I'm afraid it's going to go for a while. So we'll be revisiting this topic again. Namaskar.
Okay. Namaskar.